David Wygant, 10 minutes of reality. Here we are in reality. I call January reality. Why? Or Ranuary. Why? Because this is the month that all of you will go and basically commit to a new you. And really, at the end of the month, starting in February, you'll still be the same old you. We've talked a lot about this. And in studio today, I've got one of my best friends in the whole wide world, Larry Michel, who basically was cruising to Santa Barbara, gave me a call, said it's been too long, dropped his daughter's stuff off at school, came back down and so happened to join me today. And Larry and I share the same passion in life. I don't want to hear about anybody's stories. You know, everybody's got these fucking stories, you know. It's like you're hanging out with them and it's like they go back to, well, you know, when I was 20, I used to eat that way. You're 60. Okay? That story is 40 years old. It's got dust in it. If it was a book, it would have yellow parchment, and every time you turn the page, it would fucking crack.
Disappear.
It would disappear. It would vanish. It wouldn't even be existing anymore. And one of the biggest stories that I find that people have is the romance story, right? It's my favorite story, and it goes something like this. They meet somebody. They get triggered, right? The person says something, they get triggered, they create a story about who they think this person is, because we all know that the person standing in front of them isn't truly who they truly fully are, because you can't just expose yourself in one date, 2 dates, 10 dates, or 6 months, right?
Most can't.
Most can't. Then, okay, this is even better, then they end up breaking up with the person. It doesn't work. And they go, I don't understand who this person was the last year of the relationship. The first 6 months, they were great. They go back to the story of the first 6 months, right? And I go, well, what story seems to be the predominant flow of the energy, the trend? The trend is that this person was this person the last year, and the first 6 months, they were the person who you thought they were. So you fell in love with the idea you had of somebody, but the reality is you fucking hate their guts. Then they break up with the person, right? And they romanticize the first 6 months all over again, right? Oh, God, I miss her so much. I miss him so much. Wait a second. Did you not write down what the real story was? So what is it, Larry, with people holding on to illusional stories? What is the reason behind it?
Well, first and foremost, when you're in a story, you're not present.
Right.
You're not living now. You're living every place else but now. Right? And a story is nothing more than, it's either a projection on something you want, or it's you trying to restore or recreate something from the past, right?
Right.
And, there are stories that are fun to hold on to because they're just fun, entertaining stories. But when we're talking about life stories, about, a story about the way something was and you try to restore it, that's crazy making. I mean, you and I, David, have seen so many programs out there, people saying, "Oh, how to win your ex back, how to restore the love that you had at the beginning."
Back, that idiot.
But it's everything to try and restore the past. The past is history. It is flat out history. And anytime a relationship ends, or even you question it, at the point that you even think that maybe you don't want to be in the relationship is over even then. Right? So the only way to get back is you got to the only way to get to the truth is to get truly present with what is now, right? So
it's hard for people.
It is very hard for people because people are holding on to some resentment or some shame or some blame or some guilt, and all of those are built on stories. And all of those stories are not the truth of the present. They're all something that happened in the past. It's not now. All right? So like when I coach a couple or I coach an individual and they start talking about what happened in the past, I'll go, hold it, stop. Just stop. And they go, what do you mean stop? And I'm going to acknowledge that you had something happen to you in the past. Okay, I'll give you that.
Got to acknowledge it.
It happened. It happened in the past. But what I want to know is what's true right now. Right now. And they start talking about the past. I went, no, now. And they go, and I went, no, now. Tell me how you feel now. Tell me who you are now. Tell me what you want and desire now. Tell me what you value now, right? And when it's sometimes very difficult for people to get to that present because they've been doing everything but living in the now.
You know, it's interesting. I remember when I moved to LA from San Diego back in '98, I lost a business. I just couldn't get on my feet. You know, I had a couple of years of just, I used to be somebody syndrome. And I remember that really, really well. Like I would be walking around Brentwood and, you know me, I love clothes and fashion and I'm always up to date. And man, my shit wasn't up to date for the first time ever in my life. My car, I wasn't making the payments on it because I couldn't afford it, right? You know, 'cause I was in bad fucking financial shape during that time. And I would hide my car in my garage so the repo man wouldn't do it, right? And I remember when I started this business in '99, and almost 20 years ago, and it didn't take off for a long time because I was so in the past. I always felt like I used to be somebody, right? Instead of creating who I really wanted to be. And it took me, and this is really interesting, it took me until 2005 or 6 to really step in to being this coach.
Wow.
You know,
6 years.
6 years. Even though I started making money again in 2002, and you know, I started making six figures again in 2002, and I started like getting back to the level of income that I was accustomed to. It still took me a long time because I couldn't believe that I was in that situation to begin with, and I kept going back because I wasn't fully embracing, because I would think to myself, like, how the fuck did I ever become a dating coach? It wasn't like this subject that really interested me, you know? It didn't interest me. Other people's dating life never interested me. It didn't. And I was good at picking up women at Whole Foods. You know, I was good at connecting with women. I mean, I have that gift and that knack. I can turn it on like that. I can walk into a room and just fucking turn it on, just like that, right?
Yes, I remember when I first met you, that was clear that you had that.
Oh yeah, and I still have that knack. I could just do whenever I feel like it. And I never like chose to be a dating coach. It chose me. I love teaching confidence. And even today, like the people I coach now, it's like, come to me with your confidence issues. Come to me with your blocks and your fears. Come to me with why you can't get to the next level in life. And I'm a master at fucking helping you get there.
But you got to bust the stories to help them.
But you got to bust the stories. And I don't want to talk about dating, you know? And it's like, for years I was like, dating coach, doing articles and MTV shows and everything else and dating. And I had to talk about dating and why someone didn't write back or text back or any of this stuff. And I remember I kept thinking to myself, I'm like this confidence guy, but I fell into it. So until I stepped into a dating coach realm, which was like 05, 06, that's when my money fucking spiked up for a long period of time, right? Because I was still living a story of what I wasn't living my present story, the gift that the universe was giving me, even though it wasn't something I ever really thought or wanted or desired to do. I stepped into it because I was good at it, right? And it gave me that and acknowledged it. I was still living in the past, and the past was things I don't want to be doing this. I could be doing something else.
You saw yourself as something else.
I do, and you have to see yourself as the future, not as the past. You can't make money you can't create love, you can't make money in the present or the future until you see yourself in the present light, you know. And it's always an interesting thing. Like right now I'm coaching and learning how to trade stocks, and you know, and I have good days trading stocks and bad days. And the bad days I have because I don't believe in myself, right? Mm-hmm. But the good days are when I wake up and go, I'm a fucking trader, man. I can go do this. It's very interesting.
Because you know yourself then. Like good days is like you know yourself. And the days when it's not happening, you're projecting. And that projection is a story, right?
Oh, yeah, future projection.
So that's the piece that is going to screw you up, right? So you can have desires, you can have wants, you can have I don't even want to say wants because the word want means that something's lacking. But you know,
it's a kid.
Yeah,
my daughter wants stuff.
Yeah,
she's 8.
Yeah, so you can, you can have aspirations. You can have something that you want to build. That's great to go there, but you've got to build it from what you are now and who you are now, right? And you know, your good days are when you drop into going, shit, I have been practicing this. I know what to do. I know who I am. I know how much I love it or desire it. I know my capacity, right? And when
Yeah.
you're just right there working from that space, it's all positive. It's all up from there.
Okay, so it's interesting because every morning when you wake up, you need to set an intent. Now, people wake up and they say to themselves, tonight's gonna be a good night. You know that song, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Tonight's gonna be my. I watch Layla fucking bop to it in the back of the car, and it's cute because she's 8. And every day and every night's a good night when you're 8. And it's really interesting when I wake up in the morning, I say to myself, well, and this is what I think people do, and this is why New Year's resolutions and why January is a very dangerous month for people, because they step into that I'm gonna do it mode, but in reality they're not it. The words are there, but the feeling and the emotion is not behind it. Like if you wake up in the morning, and I have a mantra now, which is great. I want to trade till from 6:30 to 9 o'clock and be done. Whatever. I'm not going to fucking trade the afternoons and just stare at charts all day long. The afternoons are for, selective people who I decide to coach, because that's how I work. That's the reason why I never had coaching paid for on my website, because I want you to email me first. I want to see who you are, if you're serious.
Yeah, I do the same thing.
If you're going to be somebody that is going to be worthy of my time, if you're not worthy of my time, it doesn't matter how much money you have. I'm not spending it with you. It's like I don't want the money. I don't want the money that way. But you have to step into the version, and you have to write down the version and live that version. I am a trader. I am thin. I am love. I am this, and you have to believe it. And the problem I think that most people have is that they have that beginning story, right, of the future. And then the universe, every single day, the universe, God, whoever the fuck you believe in, the stock market, fucking, Krispy Kreme donuts on the street corner, the bar on the corner if you're trying to fucking eliminate booze from your life, right? I think there's a test every single day, and that's where I think people fail. I think what happens is they go in with the new story, and then the test comes along, and they go to the bar, and they drive by the bar, and they fucking go, all right, just one drink, even though I'm not supposed to, and they come out drunk again, right? And they go, well, tomorrow is going to be the new me. I'm not going to drink anymore. I'm going to be more self-conscious, right? And the thing is, that's the beauty of life, is that the challenge in life is that we all have that superhero story of ourselves, that this new version should be easy. And yet we're tested throughout the whole day on the new version, and most of us fail the test right away. The minute we have a failure, we go, instead of driving by the bar, we go into the bar. And the point is, the test was the bar. It was sitting there on the street corner. It was on the corner of Main and 5th. And you're not going to step into the new person until you drive by the bar, because that's a big step for you, driving by. I drove by the bar and I didn't go in and I didn't take a drink. And I think that's what happens, is that we go and we have a setback. And then when we have a setback, we get mad and we get angry at ourselves. And then we no longer are clear on our vision. And then what we do is we get angry at ourselves the rest of the day. And then we wake up the next morning and say to ourselves, well, today is the day I'm going to do it. And we always fail our first test. And I think the big thing is to get out of an old story is to fucking pass the first test that's thrown at you, because it's thrown at you within the first 10 or 15 minutes every single day.
It's thrown at you instantly.
Instant.
It's you and I haven't really talked about this for a while, but I've talked about it a lot recently, especially in a lot of the interviews I'm on, and definitely when I talk to people. I'm working with relationships, with couples a lot of the time, sometimes singles, and like someone has got to be really committed. It's got to be the right person, or I don't work with them. And couples, definitely that way. And, the big issue that a lot of people have is they all want love, right? They want love as if it doesn't exist, or it's conditional. It's based on a whole number of actions and
myths,
and just activities, right? And the point that I want to make to people is that they wake up every morning with love. The most unconditional, loving thing that we do is we choose to live another day. We get up in the morning, we take our feet, put them off the bed, and make a choice to stand up and be alive. That's the most unconditionally loving thing we do. That is love. That's our life force speaking for us, right? And then the very next thing we do is the day comes in and says, you got to get the kids ready for school. Oh my God, you're late on a deadline. You've got all these expectations and desires. Everything, the shit comes in, right? All the stress. And as human beings, we love tension. Tension's really part of our makeup. but we take it sometimes and it overloads us, and we forget that love is what we are. And then we go into relationships and they're all conditional, and people say, well, they don't love me. And I'm going, no, it's not about love. It's that you don't communicate well. Let's not project love onto communication, right? Because they're two different things, or there's no romance there, so they don't love me. I said, no, it's not love. Romance is a whole nother thing. There's all of these there's all of these activities, though, that they want to see themselves or someone else do, and they project love on top of them. And then when those activities happen, they say there's no love. That's bullshit. The love was there. You woke up with it, right? And so if you can hold on to that love and realize that anything that diminishes it is some story that probably hasn't happened yet, or you've got something going on that you're letting override the fact that you truly are a loving human being, and you're letting it upset that powerful life force that really can drive you through any circumstance, right? So, love really is shitless. And that's the name of my book that's coming out, right?
Great name.
But the key is when you can remove the shit, you get to have love. Right? And it's really easy to do. I mean, close your eyes and just relax right now and let everything that's been imposing itself upon you just go for the moment. Take a deep breath, feel your heartbeat, and notice that there's a life force that keeps you there. Congratulations, you're now in a space of true love. Wow, how easy was that?
But it all starts within, and that's the problem, is that we are looking for...
We want people to create love for us.
Yes,
we want it, it's like everybody's going, I need a partner so I can be loved. I need this so I can be loved. I need to be thinner so I can be loved. I need to be more active so I can be loved. Screw that. You woke up this morning, your heart's beating, you are loved. Now you can definitely still want to be thin, or you can definitely want to be more active or healthier, or whatever your desire is. You wrote a book called Naked, right?
Yeah, a long time ago.
And it's a beautiful book, and it basically says, stand in front of the mirror and love yourself, even with all the imperfections. Because those things are just part of your life and living in the universe saying, here, figure this one out. Which is, by the way, if we're not in the mode of figuring things out, then we've stopped emerging and stopped living anyhow. Get the hell off the planet, right? That's growth, and that's the thing that you should be excited about every day, and not diminish yourself because you have to go through it. It's an opportunity to grow.
It's interesting, Larry. Not only is it an opportunity to grow, there's an exercise from Naked which most people won't do, and the exercise is, and it really comes down to this. If you don't love you, other people can't love you. If you don't like you, other people don't like you. So if you don't love a certain part of your body, no boyfriend, no girlfriend's going to look at it and go, God, you got the best ass. You hate your ass? They're going to end up hating your ass. Plain and simple. Energy, right?
Yeah, because you're just projecting it out there. So,
you're projecting. So there's an exercise in Naked, and people don't do it, and they don't realize what it is and how fucking beautiful it is that get undressed in front of a mirror, look at your fucking body, and if you do not get wet or hard, if you're a dude, then you don't like yourself, okay? And you got to do that every single day till you're so fucking turned on by the look at yourself, by who you are, by the cellulite on your ass, by one boob being bigger than the other, by one ball hanging fucking lower, There's always room for improvement.
Always.
Because we're marketed improvement all day long. 3 steps to a better ass, 4 steps to a better body, 5 steps to a bigger dick. You know what I mean? So, but if you cannot stand in front of a mirror and get turned on physically by who you are, and then if you can't masturbate in front of that fucking mirror and look at yourself and love the beauty of who you are and get turned on by the beauty of who you are, nobody else is going to. Your sex isn't going to be great. Your lovemaking isn't going to be great. Nobody else is going to fucking feel the same way because everybody is just going to be a projection of it. So if you're turning around...
A projection of what you don't like.
What you don't like.
Yeah.
So if you're turning around and going, God, I got cellulite on the back of my ass, blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you something. The man that you're going to be with, he's going to love your body because he picked you. But 6 months in, after you hating yourself on a daily basis on that, he's going to stare at your fucking cellulite and he's going to see exactly what you see. And he's going to say to himself, did she always have all this cellulite? Did she always have an ass this fucking flat? Right? Because you are fucking projecting it back and he is taking it in. So it comes down to it. We can always be better. And that's the whole thing is that, we're marketed to be better. We're judged. That's why I hate social media, Facebook and Instagram and everything, because everybody just wants to be this pretend perfect version of themselves.
Well, what we're marketed is how to be best, right?
Right.
That's the piece. That's the trap. It's like they're putting this bright shiny object in front of you, which is how to be best, and or perfect, right? And there is no such thing as perfect, and there is no such thing as best. We can have our personal best, but in that place, we still constantly are growing, right? We're constantly growing. Anytime anybody that has ever been really successful knows that as soon as they reach a level of success that they were trying to attain, there's a new challenge in front of them. And the reason why they reach that level of success is they love the challenge. They love to learn and grow and experience what it takes to attain new levels of emergence as a human being. And that's what makes them so great at what they do. They never reach best.
There is no best.
There is no best. But we get marketed that all the time, and that's this unattainable shiny object that we can never get to. If we can just settle in to know that there's always improvement and be excited by the improvement. You see the cellulite. You go, you love yourself. You might not like the cellulite. You might want that to go away. But you love yourself and say, okay, I know what I'm going to do to get rid of this cellulite.
Right. That's the thing. That's the key. I love myself so much that I'm going to work on this to get rid of the cellulite.
Right.
When you hate yourself so much, the cellulite, what you resist persists.
You sit there and look at it. It will never go away.
It will never go away. You could go to the gym 100 hours a week and it ain't going away.
Nope.
Because you're concentrating so much on it. Instead of saying, I love myself so much, this is something I don't like about myself, so I'm going to work on it. But it's also really interesting what you said, too, is that people are, they want to get there. You always hear that. Mm-hmm. It's like, this year I want to get there. I want to get there. I want to get there. And I always tell people there's no such, there is the fucking carrot on the end of the string. There is no such thing as there. There doesn't exist. Because a successful person never gets there. You always wonder why successful people, they have billions of dollars, yet they're continually fucking working to make money even though they don't need any money. And people always go, well, what drives them? What drives them is they're not there. Because they've learned something on each level. To you, you look at that income and you think it's success. To them, they look at the income and it just it really came as a development of self. So they get to a certain fucking level and they might be being paid $100 million a year because they're so successful. But the fact of the matter is they see something in themselves that still needs to be improved.
It's not just a need. It's something that they are still growing, right?
Yep.
So they're enjoying the process of discovery and growth, right? It's like, I want to go to Italy this year, right? I don't have this vision of exactly what the room and the place and the people and all that are going to be. There's things that attract me to Italy, but I'm going to travel there to discover and explore. And it would be a huge mistake to try and define the trip down to every single hour and second and minute and place that I want to go and how I want to experience it. I will never really get to experience Italy if I dial it down that tight, right? So I have an aspiration, a goal, but I'm giving it the opportunity for the universe to say, here, this is how you're going to experience it in this place at this time. Now have an opportunity to really explore and be surprised by what shows up, right? And that, to me, is super exciting. Now, business, human growth, our interactions with people, how we communicate, how we express our love, how we build relationships, how we raise our kids, how we interact at work. All of those things are a daily experience of growth and evolution and emergence, right? And we need to be excited about that. Not, it's like if you're going to work and doing the same damn thing every single day.
Oh, you're not growing.
You're not growing. You're going to find yourself really bored. right? Unless you have an opportunity to meet new people every day, now you have a chance to experience something that's unique because someone unique walked in, and your experience with that person will be unique. But if you have an expectation about how they're going to behave, how they're going to respond, or what they're going to like, or you know what you don't like about yourself and you project that onto that other person, you're not going to experience anything new. So you've got to go in with a child's mind every day, and look at it as a form of exploration, an opportunity to receive something new and exciting.
It's interesting. To receive new and exciting is like pretty much the only mantra that people should have. Because if you look at life, I'm the same way with you. It's like, I want to go places. I just don't know what I can't plan a vacation. It's like I make a decision to go somewhere, but I don't really want to book a hotel. I don't really know what I'm going to be in the mood for. And that's why like apps like Hotels Tonight fit me so well, because I know I'm going to get a great 4-star, 5-star room for half the price and all this other stuff. And I like to just go with it,
Yeah.
And I've always been a kid. That's probably the reason why my daughter and I can hang out for such a, for a couple of days and just like have no agenda. It's like she loves, like, we have no agenda. I look at her, I go, what do you want to do? She goes, I don't know. What do you want to do? I said, I don't know. What should we do now? And that's what I always play that game with her. What do you want to do right now in this moment? Can we go to the fish store? Abso-fucking-lutely, right? We got a fish tank, right? So absolutely, right? And it is all about that. I've always been like a little kid, in that sense, in that way. And it's interesting because it keeps you very present.
Mm-hmm.
But I've also had the structure. It's like I'm good at certain structures, like like you.
Well, you need structure. You're super active, David, right?
Oh.
So it's like my partner is super active. I'm moderate active. So we just went to Hawaii, right? And we decided to camp part of the time. We stayed with friends part of the time. But we also, there was a certain amount of structure that said we want to go explore and do certain things. So for her, every day we wanted to have a plan, but the plan was made as we went along, right? And we also knew that it was really flexible. Like if we were driving up the road and the road was washed out, adventure is already happening, right? So we go back,
See,
we go another way.
I get off on that. I look at it. Some people will be disappointed.
Yeah,
They'll be like, "Oh man, I couldn't get to the end of the road." I'm thinking, "This is the end of the road. Let's go find a new road."
We went to this one nature preserve, and we got up there and we went to go hiking. And the guy at the front, we had to pay like $5 to park. It was super cheap. And he said, "We said, are there hiking trails?" And he goes, "No, they're all washed out." So you can only walk like 150 feet up to the falls and as far as you can go. So we walked up there and we saw a trail. We went, I don't know, it doesn't look washed out to me. And there's other people. So we went walking and we walked into this beautiful, dense forest.
Oh, God,
right?
it's so beautiful there.
And it was pouring down rain, so it was so cool because we had the rain coming down and we were protected by the canopy above us, right? We still got a little wet, but it was beautiful and green, and the smell of it was just incredible. And, we could have stopped and gone, oh, we can only walk 150 feet. Let's not go. Let's just turn around. But we've just got this mindset that something new, something unexpected is always going to show up for us because we're ready for it and excited for it all the time. And it did. And I have these pictures that are unbelievable because I just didn't want to leave it for just my eyes. It wasn't just a Kodak moment. I had to take pictures of some of the foliage and some of the rivers that were just surging because it was raining. And it was, we walked away from that sopping wet. We got in the car, took most of our clothes off because we were soaked to the core, and we were laughing. We were so happy. And, all of that happened because we didn't get stuck on, you can only go 150 feet.
Yeah, but you had that 150 feet was magic. That's all it was supposed to be. And that's what's so beautiful about it. I look at that and I say to myself, wow, man, to experience that 150 feet, most people wouldn't have experienced it. They would have been like, fuck, our day's ruined by the rain. The road was washed out. Fuck. And me, I look at it as like you had 150 feet and listen to the words you used. It's like the descriptive words you used. The smell, the feel, because you were present in that moment. Now, it's interesting that you said something, a super active mind. This is one of the things when I trade stocks, which is interesting. a super active mind watching the stock market is one of the most dangerous combinations in the world.
It's
okay,
really tricky.
It's I'm going against. I can read charts, so it's like I figured that all that stuff out, right? You know, I always have more to learn, right? But I'm good at figuring it out. But the super active, shiny object mind, because I'm like a little kid. And I look at it, I've always looked at the stock market as like all these beautiful women showing up at a fucking dance, and I want to fuck them all. So I'm going to go talk to every single one of them, right? But commit to none of them. And at the end of the night, I'm going to go home most likely by myself because I didn't go and fucking stay present in the moment with somebody who is giving me that moment, that fucking energy, right? She was sharing that energy with me, and that's how it was aligned for the night. So it's interesting. How do you come, like, to me, you know, I go start looking at stocks. I'm like all over the place, right? Mm-hmm. And then I end up missing my moves, right? And then I get frustrated, and then I'll go and I'll take some dumb moves because super active. I have to do something, right?
Well,
so how do you calm that for people who have super active minds and they need to focus for a few? Because that's what I love about the stock market, right? I could go coach somebody, and it's like an 8-hour grind. But I can focus for 8 hours because there's breaks and other people and and I've got the thing. But the stock market, I've tried to do it all day long, and it's just, it's too active for me, you know?
Well, okay, so
David, how does a super active mind...
So the super active mind likes structure, and you're super fast. You're quick. You notice things. But there's another piece about you. You're a protector, right? So, you know, people that don't know me, I'm talking genetic energetics now. That's my science, and maybe we can give people a link to it later, right? But you're a protector. You are the most psychic person on the earth, right? Protectors are. What they see, what they
and I'm a manifestor on the human design chart. I got some scary shit going on.
You got some powerful stuff going
on. I got scary shit going on.
I wouldn't... change your language, my friend.
Okay.
You got to pull scary out of there.
Okay.
Because scary is if you think you got scary going on, the universe is going to continue to give you scary.
Okay. So go on. I got you.
So the thing is, as a protector, okay, you're psychic. What you see is what's going to happen, and if your mind sees something and it puts you on high alert, you instantly got to go into solution mode.
Fuck, I don't act on it. In the stock market, I see what's going to happen.
If you see what's going to happen,
I see the fucking move.
That's it.
And I don't take it. And then what happens...
Because you're second-guessing yourself, right?
Yeah.
So when you second-guess yourself, you're going against your genetic makeup. Your genetic makeup can manifest anything. Every protector I've ever met, what they see is what happens, right? 99% of the time.
All right, wait a second. So you're telling me my genetic makeup, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I see something and it looks like it's gonna work, right? Because being the protector, right? You know. Blah, blah, blah.
So basically, you're gonna get a vision. You're gonna get a clear vision of the way something is going to come down, right? And it's either looking like it's gonna work or it's gonna look like a landmine, right? It's either wow, that's the way to go. Or holy shit! If I go that way, I'm gonna drive into a ditch, right? Or it's all gonna blow up around me. Okay. Either way, you got a clear vision of something happening in front of you. Obviously, if it's a upside, it looks like a great way to go. You need to follow that. If it looks like there's a challenge, then you just got to go into a solution mode and go, what's the solution? And as soon as you ask yourself, what's a solution, you're going to have 3 or 4 options that are going to come up. Pick the one that comes up that you like the best.
But what about when fear comes in for people? Because the thing is,
fear is a projection. You know, that's what does fear stand for? What's the acronym? It's false
evidence appearing reality.
Appearing reality, right?
Appearing real, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a story. The fear comes up as a story that I'm going to fuck up. It's a story I'm going to lose money. It's a story someone else lost money. It's a story. It's a belief system. Some story that someone says you can't succeed in the stock market unless you got 20 years of experience. It's someone else's story or it's your story. It's not real. Doesn't exist now.
All right, so everybody's selling, and that's the problem, is that everybody's selling somebody else's everybody's believing someone else's story. You go and you try a new business, and you can't be successful at this business because it takes 3 to 4 years, okay? That's their story, right? But yet every fucking business, for everybody it took 3 to 4 years, there was somebody it took 4 to 5 months on it, right?
Or less.
There's outliers. there's naturals at everything, or there's people that are instinctually good at something,
or they just don't look at David. They don't know better. Remember, I used to teach sales, right, years ago, and we'd go into a new sales team. There'd be 30 people, and there'd be 2 guys that are brand new, and the brand new guys are all of a sudden breaking everybody's records. Right?
Oh,
they come in and they break everybody's records.
A 23-year-old kid making fucking $300,000 a year.
And the manager's going, well, how are you doing that? No, that's not the way we're supposed to do that. You got to do it the way Bill's an old timer. He's been doing this forever. You got to follow it his way. And now the kid that was doing great starts following the system that he's being told that he's supposed to use, and his sales plummet, right? So what it is someone's naturally coming in, they're looking at the situation, they're going, oh, I know, let's try this. They have huge success. What the manager should be doing is going, hey, let's look at what the new kid's doing because he's having success where the rest of you guys aren't. But that's not the way the system is set up. The system is set up that we've got these methodologies and you got to follow these methodologies, and that's the way it's always been done. That's a pitfall. It's a downfall, right? But what makes that new person so successful is they don't have anybody else's stories happening. They come in, they look at the scenario, they get this sense that this is the way to go. They listen with fresh ears, right? They're curious, so they have a child's mind, and they hear stuff that other people have already filtered out because they've been told that's not the way to do it.
Okay, wait a second. So we're accumulating other people's stories.
All the time.
So when you go and you search...
Turn on the TV set. Good Lord.
Turn on the TV set, but you put on the internet. When you go and you're searching all these business opportunities or dating business or whatever it might be, you're accumulating other people's fucking experience, right? Mm-hmm. And the thing is that I always say, and I've said it a few times, is that if you're going to be coached by somebody, coach somebody who give you unlimited possibilities, and they tell you one of their fucking strong points is, I will coach and show you the mistakes that I made so you don't have to. There's no reason for us to make all these mistakes. If you hire somebody or you buy a program, you don't need to make the mistakes for yourself to make you better. Mm-mm. You just need to listen and realize that I can avoid, and that's what I think human beings need to do. I can avoid these mistakes by actually listening to the person and actually trusting myself, because there is, like how many times do you see, in the NFL? I mean, we recorded this watching the football game, right? How many fucking times have you seen a rookie quarterback come on, like Baker Mayfield this year? The Browns won no games last year, and they won 7 games this year, right? And he broke all rookie records for the amount of touchdowns, right? You knew it because he fucking basically told you it was going to happen when he got drafted, right? He believed in himself.
Right.
Never played in the NFL. Tyrod Taylor went down in, I think, the 3rd game against the Jets, and Baker Mayfield went and had an unbelievable good rookie year. Dak Prescott did it a couple of years ago. Barely threw any interceptions his rookie year.
Geek.
No, but it's the thing is, yes, and a lot of people say, well, they prepared for it. No, but at each level,
much more than that.
It's much more than that, because you can prepare for it, but the NFL moves twice as fast as college game. You're not prepared for it. You just believe in yourself so much, and you trust yourself so much, and you've learned. There's a limit. There's so many people that want to learn and learn and learn and learn and learn, and especially if you look at the stock market, you can go. There are so many fucking systems that you can learn. There's the 1-minute chart, the 3-minute chart, the 2-minute chart, the 5-minute chart, the 15-minute chart, the 30-minute chart, the swing.
It's endless.
The swing trader. That's when you fucking suck a woman's. You go down on a woman, you go down on a guy the same day. You're swing trading, right? So there's so many different systems and so many different people looking at so many different support and resistance. Is the support line the tops of the wicks, or is it the fucking base of the candles, right? So if you have all these different interpretations of what life is, because the stock charts are just life. If you got all these different interpretations of these charts, the question is, what system and what interpretation works for you? Because you're playing the fucking probability. So if you find a probability in a fucking system that works for you, and you say, I'm playing the top of the wicks, sure enough, a percentage of people are playing the top of the fucking wicks. So you're going to make the money from the top of the wicks to the next candle, right? Or whatever it might be. That's what life is about. It's not perfection. It's interpretation.
So I need you to clarify something for me.
Okay.
Because I'm not entirely certain what you're saying to me. When you say play the probability, that sounds like you're getting into someone else's game and structure.
No,
So,
everything in life is a probability, right?
Okay.
If you look at life, everything is a probability. There's nothing that's not a probability. You know, a doctor goes in and you have cancer. There's a probability, right, of if you will survive, right? They base it on statistics from other people in the past, right? So if you look at sales, you look at football, you look at the stock market, right? You're playing probabilities, right? That's all you're doing is playing probabilities.
well, to play
right?
probabilities, though,
But
you have,
but there's so many probabilities, right?
yeah, and the probabilities, aren't they nothing more than a library of people's belief systems?
Correct. And that's why when you open up the stock market or any other business, right, there's no one way to do something because it's all just human interpretation, right? So if you look at candlesticks, those are just people inside those candlesticks making fucking decisions based on probability, right? If you go and you open up a car business, there's that great show, you know, that fixes up cars, right? He fucking does it his way. Someone else does it another way. There's no right or wrong. You're playing the fact that you play percentages in life, right? So if you think about it, every single system, and that's what I think the problem with most people. You know, a lot of people, they want to meet somebody, they want a system, they want a relationship system, right? But the fact of the matter is that there's different interpretations of each event. So the fact is, certain percentage of people believe in the same interpretation that you're witnessing at that moment. So the fact is, there's a certain percentage of you that are right and a certain percentage of you that are wrong.
So, you know, we were talking earlier, though, and why do people take the tactic, though? They're looking for the easy way,
Always.
right? And there's the trap, is that, you know, looking for what's easy, looking for what is simple, looking for what's going to take the, you know, the pressure off, which is what people seem to want so much of. Like, I just want life to be easy. I just want it to be simple. I just want it to cruise. That's a facade, right? And a lot of the programs that people buying out there is like telling you, this is how love is going to come easy to you. This is how money is going to come easy to you. The 3 steps, the 5 steps, the 10 steps, the 3 months, the, you know, whatever program. If you're looking for simplicity and ease, you're looking for kind of a way out of something that is against our human nature, right? And that's, I mean, you almost can't blame a person because they're going, oh, well, life is so hard. Well, if you think life is so hard,
then it is.
Then it is,
you
right?
programmed yourself.
But if you look at the obstacles in your life and get excited and get courageous and look at them as an opportunity to grow, then it doesn't become hard anymore. It becomes fun, right? But you got to do something else as well. And you got to realize as human beings, we're like a coin and there's 2 sides to it. Okay? One side is our life force. That's love. I spoke about that earlier. Love is a life force. It's nothing else. As soon as you define it, put a name on it, it's no longer love. Just know that it's your life force. It's what keeps you alive and pumping. The other side of that coin is tension, right? Human beings love tension. If we don't have it, we'll create it. We do it all the time. We put ourselves into stressful situations. We put ourselves into situations where we have to grow. It's kind of like, if you think about a chicken that is hatching, it takes a lot of tension to break through that egg, right? And so human beings, this body, if there was no tension, we'd probably be a blob of wet mass. We wouldn't exist. So the tension keeps us together, and it works at us, and it causes us to have to grow constantly. Our body's recycling. Every cell in our body, every 7 months, right, recycles. So there's this constant tension. But what pushes it? Life force, right? So those 2 things together. Now, if you look at all the obstacles that are happening in our life and think of them as painful and challenging and, oh, this is so hard and why am I in this again? And you're looking for the easy way out, you're actually trying to sidestep a natural evolution of our body, which is that tension. Embrace it instead. Know that it exists. It exists. It's going to happen. You want some level of attention to push you into growth so you can, as a human being, continue to evolve. As soon as you stop evolving, you're dead, right? You don't exist anymore. we as human beings are constantly evolving. Some of us call that age, if they want to look at it as in a linear way, right? But the reality is our body's always evolving. It's always evolving. Now, you can evolve into something that's cancerous, or you can evolve into something that's healthy, right? And part of it, a huge part of it, is that mindset, accepting that evolution is a really positive, exciting, fulfilling, joyful, beautiful, blissful, co-creative, serendipitous thing to do, right? It's ecstasis. It's flow. It's an important ingredient about who we are. But if we're looking for the easy way out, how to make it simple, how to make it just,
how to lose weight in 3 days.
You know, if
Everything
we're looking
threes.
for those things, we're trying to sidestep our own human nature, right? So I guess the invitation here is, if you find yourself going, oh, God, this is so hard, get excited. Get excited, because the universe is pushing you into an opportunity to evolve into something greater than you already are. And how freaking great is that? It's amazing.
I like the way you put that, because it's interesting, because if you look at the opportunities that spring themselves, or the challenges that we perceive, right? So
and you're using the word challenge, David, which is an awesome word to use. Most people will say it's a problem.
No, it's
right?
a
It's not a problem. It's a challenge.
Not a problem. You put yourself in that situation.
Right.
So the fact is, you put yourself in that situation. You made the decision to shovel food in your mouth, so you got overweight. You made the decision to fucking put the alcohol in your body over and over again, so you got liver issues. You know, you took the opportunity to smoke fucking cigarettes nonstop, so you can't run up a hill anymore. It's like
you have an emotional challenge that you've held on to for years from some trauma that's in the past, and you decide to live it today, and now you have a chronic illness. Chronic illnesses do not make any sense. All they are is a manifestation of your emotions that you continue to bring with you into the present and project on the future.
Right. And then you have an opportunity to then go and get rid of the chronic illness, whatever it might be, right? So then you search out a fucking reason, or you search out the quickest way to do that without working on the mindset, without working on what you got you there. And the fact of the matter is that everybody in the world, if they can lose weight in 3 days, or get rich in 3 days, or quit smoking in 3 days, would. Right? The thing is, there's a challenge. And the fact of the matter is, the challenge is, how badly do you want to get to the level of life that you're no longer addicted to the fucking destructive behavior that you have in the present or in the past, right? And that's that's what I think it comes down to. So the problem is that we get marketed to this destructive behavior, because you know, everybody quits, and this is something that drives me nuts about humans, right? Is that they quit. Your stuff doesn't work. Bullshit. It fucking works. I'm living proof. I'm not special. I'm living proof, and so are other people. It works because I made a commitment to it. I had a passion for it, and I didn't overcomplicate it. And that's where the big simplicity comes,
you didn't
right?
just overcomplicate it, David. You dropped all the stories that had you holding on to the obstacles. All the beliefs.
Obstacles on yourself.
Yeah, all the beliefs that you had that said, I can't do this, I can't be this, it's never possible, I'm not worthy, all of those pieces, you let those go so you can attain what you want to experience now, right? Which is a healthier body, a vibrant mind, an excited person who loves to laugh and play and create and challenge people, right? Because you love the challenge.
Oh, yeah, I get off on challenge.
Yeah, you get off on it totally. I mean, why are you into sports? It's a huge challenge market, right? But it's like you had to let go of a shit ton of beliefs that were obstacles for you to live the way you live now.
Yeah, and I also realized, and this is something that I've learned from a lot of people who are very smart and successful, success comes to people who keep it simple. Now, the fact is, those 3 steps that people sell you actually fucking work. The problem is most people can't make it past step 1. So the fact is, when you look at things, and there's nothing in life, and you have to look at life this way, there is nothing in life that is so fucking complicated. It's we complicated because we think it's complicated. But really, everything in life is, if you really kept things simple, and the things that resonated with you. Take the stock market once again as a fucking good example, right? If you found 3 patterns, this one trader I know, he trades 3 patterns, ignores all the rest of them, and makes himself $1 million a year. And I always ask him, why do you fucking not trade the other patterns? He goes, because it makes it too goddamn fucking complicated. I got to think too much. So I just look for these patterns. And I said, well, what happens if you see other patterns? He goes, I don't see them. He goes, I only trade when I see this pattern. When I see this pattern, I take the fucking trade. And if I don't see this pattern, I don't take the trade. And I sit there. And he goes, I don't care if X, Y, and Z went up 50 fucking points in the last 2 hours.
Yeah, he doesn't have shiny object syndrome.
It doesn't matter. And that's the thing with life, is that you need to find something that fits within your personality. You know, whether it's meeting somebody, losing weight, stop smoking, picking up a business. You got to find something that's simple enough for you so you can adapt the simple things about it, right? Because to me, you know, take losing weight for an example, right? You got to eat healthy.
That flow,
right?
Flow. They flow with who you are and what you are, right? And sometimes they may be complex. Okay, I mean, you're calling it simple. It's simple if it's flowing, right? But sometimes those challenges, those obstacles, like the pattern that the stock market guy you were talking about is, you know, that might not be a simple pattern, but he knows it.
Actually,
and
it's a pretty simple pattern.
It flows with where he wants to go.
He ignores everything else. I mean, look, you work for Tony Robbins, so you know. Tony fucking, if you listen to Tony nonstop, which sometimes I'll listen to Tony during my massages, right? And Tony fucking talks about the same things over and over again. He always talks about weight loss. Like, that's a big thing if you listen to Tony, right? It's always about healthy body, right? Lose the fucking weight, get out of your own way. He talks about mental health, right? He talks about emotional health. Tony talks about the same shit over and over and over and over and over and over again, right? And it's very, very simple, and he says it very simply. You want to look good, you lose weight. How do you lose weight? You stay committed to I mean, he's very much...
And he works with belief systems.
He
so
does.
You know, if you've got a belief that's...
His structure.
Yeah.
His belief system is his structure. But I think, and I look at Tony, and you know Tony, I look at Tony as someone who brainwashed himself to be 100% different. Because there was this one interview I've watched him, which was so fucking true. It's so amazing. I don't remember who, it might have been Oprah interviewing him, right? And she goes, who is Tony Robbins? He goes, he's a creation of my mind. I mean, he created, do you remember that story? Remember I told you I met him in Del Mar? I was working for a company called Millionaire Makers, teaching mindset,
Oh my
right?
God, that's a long time ago.
Tony was sitting at like some little cafe, and this is during the days when we had analog cell phones, and I called my mentor up. I go, Tony Robbins sitting at the cafe. He goes, well, go talk to him. So I went and talked to him, and 45 minutes I sat there and got a free Tony Robbins lesson, right? Because I said, Tony, you know, it's like, how did you become you? You know, because at 27 years old, he was getting paid $10,000 a day to go fucking hang out with executives, and he was a 27-year-old fucking kid who read Zig Ziglar and Napoleon, you know, what Think and Grow Rich, right? Or whatever he fucking read. But the fact of the matter is he created Tony, and that's what's so, when you listen to him, and you listen to that interview, he created this. He wrote down a version of what he fucking wanted. I mean, you know, you've heard about his childhood. He talks.
Well, we were partnered, so I knew Tony pretty well.
Know,
right?
He talks about all this shit. He doesn't sugarcoat it. He goes, yeah. He goes, my mom made soap or whatever. You know, all this shit, right? And you know, he was ugly, and you know, and he had giant syndrome and all this other things. But man, he just made a decision. He made a decision to be something, and that's really the system. The system is you make a decision to be something. If you're heavy, decide you want to be thin. This is not my quote. This is Tony's fucking quote. You know, if you want to fucking be healthy, eat fucking healthy. You know, it's like
be what you want to be.
Be what you want to be, and he's a master, and it's just you listen. Oprah's like that. Oprah's the same fucking way. Everybody's repeating, which is such an interesting thing. Everybody's repeating the same shit. You know, if you really break it down.
They're saying the same thing with different words.
Yes.
They really are. For years, for centuries.
For centuries. And that's why these systems really are as simple as they fucking appear to be. Because they're not recreating. Nobody is recreating. There is no magic fucking way for you. You want to be good with girls? You got to go and talk to them. You know, you want to fucking have a loving relationship, you got to go out there and you got to fucking date. If you hate dating, you're never going to have a loving relationship, you know?
You want to have love, you want to have love in your life, you need to be love.
Yeah.
I mean, that's simple, right?
And we said something interesting earlier, which is worth repeating, you know, because I think people need to hear it again. It comes down to how you perceive yourself. You know, when you look at yourself, if you hate a part of yourself, if you hate your legs, you hate your chin, you hate your hair, you hate your nose, right? The person who likes you, they don't see that in the beginning. They don't go to you, God, I really think this woman or this man is great, but they got an awful Owen Wilson nose, right? You know what I'm right? And they don't see that in the beginning. But the more you project that to them, then they start agreeing with you and go, yeah, your nose really sucks.
So the key is, when you say hate, that means you're focusing on something you don't like and you're making it wrong and distasteful. Right? As opposed to, like in your book, Naked, you stand in front of a mirror and you see something that you don't like, then you love yourself and make a decision, I want to change that. I want to change it. I don't like that. You know what? I love me, but I would love me with a few less wrinkles. I love me, but I would love me, and my love, the degree of my love is not going to change, but what I want to see is a little less cellulite. Okay? I love me, and I'm having challenge walking because I've got a really sore foot and I haven't done anything about it. And I love me so much, I'm going to do something about it.
That's because you're a man. We ignore our pains.
Whatever the case is, you got to love yourself. You got to love yourself first, and then allow yourself to strive for whatever it is that you would like to be different.
Well, no,
but you don't make yourself ugly or distasteful or wrong or horrible for your imperfections. We all have them.
Oh, look, I've said it before.
That's the key.
I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. You strip down naked in front of a fucking mirror, and if you're a woman and you don't get wet by looking at your body, or if you're a guy and dick doesn't get rock fucking hard by staring at yourself, nobody else is going to fucking get wet or rock hard staring at you, because eventually what you project about yourself is going to project back to them in the bedroom. And look, I know. Look, when I was 5 years old, my mom decided to go 60 miles an hour into a parked fucking car, and I've had scoliosis since I was 5 years old. Now, there's pictures of me before that, and I'm fine. There's pictures of me afterwards, and one rib is like out to here. And I remember, like, when I would have sex with a woman for the very first time in a relationship, I could give a fuck about my one night stands, right? But I would, in a relationship, I would think to myself, oh man, when do I have a conversation that, I got a 15-degree curve in my back? She's going to feel one side bigger than the other, right? So I would just freeze up and I'd be so nervous. I'd lay on top of them, and one of my favorite things after sex is to always have my back rubbed, or tickled. And I'd lay there and I'd be tense as hell, and I'd have to have the talk, right? Let's have the scoliosis talk, even though I've been going to chiropractors and massage and everything else, but it's time to have the scoliosis because I hated it. I fucking hated it. I was the Hunchback of Notre Dame. We called it the hump. I would go to Long Beach, the beach with my, in New York with my brother. And I would turn to my brother and go, is everybody seeing it? And here I am. I've been ripped since I was fucking a kid. People would die to be in the physical shape that I'm in, but I'm not perfect. And it always bothered me, It's like I would go to chiropractors and I would go do this and go do that. And I would put on a tight t-shirt and I would think, God, I hope if I bend over, someone's going to see one side of my back bigger than the other. Until finally one day, and I don't know what it was, maybe 4, 5, 6 years ago, I woke up and I was just like, I'm 50 fucking years old. I've had the 45 years of this fucking torture fucking story going with my fucking scoliosis. And I'm like, fuck this. It's not going to go away. It's part of me. It's an imperfection. Even surgery won't make it go away, at my age. I do exercises and I try to will it to go away. But you know what? It may never fucking go away. So it's time I fucking just relaxed a little bit and realized, you know what? I got a fucking pretty much beautiful kick-ass fucking body even with the scoliosis. It's time to fucking love it all. But it took me till 50 to finally wake up. And then I never really had thoughts when I was dating somebody again or having.
Did you write your book after that awareness? Or did they come hand in hand?
No, I think they came hand in hand.
Which is fascinating, David. Because think about it, all right? You wrote this book, and it's talking about being able to really love yourself, right?
Yeah, it's a great book.
With all the imperfections, yet you had this scoliosis thing. And so and the belief system around it, and you said that piece got busted after you wrote your book. And so there's this psychic ability you have that dumped all this, that allowed you to come up with all this information.
I wrote that book in 2.5 hours.
I remember you telling me how you wrote the book.
Do you remember how?
Don't let me lose. I don't want to lose this train of thought.
We can tell them how I wrote the book.
But yeah, it was hilarious.
Don't lose the train of thought. Okay, but I literally
You copy talked the book.
I copy talked the book when I ate a fucking pop brownie. So I ate a pop brownie, and then I.
This is not necessarily a recipe for writing a book, by
Right.
the way. You can try it if you want.
Try it. But I ate a pop brownie, and then the book was all outlined. My editor outlined it, right? And I just went in chapter 1, chapter 2, and I just dictated it, and I pretended there was an audience listening. So literally, I went in my daughter's room for part of it and lined up her stuffed animals, right? And I just talked it out, and that was the book.
So here's the deal. You had this knowing, David. You had this knowing, and you dictated it. The book came to be, right? So, and I hope I can get to this in a really insightful way because I want people to really see it. The universe will send us messages over and over and over and over again till we finally fucking get it. Okay? So you have this knowing, you write a book, right? But you haven't totally listened to what the universe has told you to do because you still are hung up on your scoliosis, right?
Oh yeah, because I did the exercise from the front, but didn't turn around from the back.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely, I didn't do a complete.
But there was
360
no
degrees.
clearer message than the fact that you just put it on paper and into a book and put a front and back cover to it, right? So it's saying, all right, David, you said it. Now we put it into book form. Now you better get it, right? And shortly afterwards, you finally get it, right?
Yeah.
And so the reason why I brought this up is that the universe is constantly giving us messages. Even when we think we finally figured it out, the universe will usually, like when you go, okay, I got it. I know how I need to show up. This is the way I'm going to be for this next relationship. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be truthful. I'm going to be courageous. I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to be in integrity, right? The universe will test you one more time, at least, to make sure you really got it, right? So you write this book. The next test is, all right, but did you really get it? Because you're still hung up on the scoliosis, right? And it's a brilliant example of how even after you think you know it, plan on something coming up just to test you one more time to make sure you really got it. And then once you got it, you're done with it. And then you know what happens next? A new challenge. Some new challenge will come up, and it's the next exciting, incredible lesson in life. But you're done with that last one. And so I'd say your book was the preemption to the final, you got it. Because then you finally let the scoliosis thing go.
I did. I let it go. It was one of the best feelings. I mean, there are moments, there's still moments of like, man, I wish I didn't have it. Moments, right? That's human being. But most of the time, I'm like, it is what it is. It's like I make jokes about it. I go to the chiropractor.
But you're not hung up on it anymore,
no,
right?
I'm not hung up.
It's not defining you like it did.
No, I'll wear like a tight shirt and I'll bend over, or even in the gym, I'll go do my downward dog or my, or I'll do my child's pose, which used to be the turtle pose. I called it the scoliosis pose because one half of my back would come up a little higher. And I'll do it. And I never would do that in the gym. I'd always feel self-conscious in yoga class, right? And
But you don't anymore, and that's the cool thing.
No, I don't even care I don't care if somebody at the gym notices. Like, I give a fuck about, some fucking random person who's on the treadmill happens to look down, which they probably won't because they're staring at their fucking phones all the time anyway, right? But if they happen to look down and go, wow, that guy's got scoliosis, holy shit, man, who are they going to tell? What are they going to go tell their uncle?
And who cares?
And who gives a fuck? And that's, I think, part of it. Like, I don't care what other people think.
Because you love yourself.
Right, because I love myself. And it took that was a long process, falling in love. And this is interesting for all of you that are single. You're going to continue to have shitty fucking relationships unless you fall in love with yourself. Because the relationship that you want and the relationship that you desire is never going to come to you until you truly love yourself, your body, your mind, and your soul. Otherwise, you're just going to go and you're going to get these half relationships that might be good at times, but until you fucking embrace who you truly are and love who you truly want to be, your relationship is going to be lacking in something because you think you're lacking in something, when in reality, you're not lacking in something. The only thing you're lacking in is a full defined story or version of who you truly are right now.
You said something that's so true, and you just said something I had never thought about this way before. Like, I make a distinction between love and being in love, right? And the distinction, so love is, you are love, right? You are love. But when people fall in love, it's a decision that they want to have a relationship with someone. Like, if I'm in love with a woman, I don't just love her, I can love lots of people. I can truly love them in the moment. I can love all kinds of things and love them fully. But to be in love is a decision that I want to create something with someone. I want to go in relationship with them, right? And I want to create something with them. I want there to be a family or a home or a business or whatever it might be. That's falling in love. And what you just said that's so cool to me is that when you fall in love with yourself, that's the ultimate deciding that you want a relationship with you, right? That it's not requiring anybody else for you to be happy, to be excited, to really enjoy your life. You may want connections. I think as human beings, we need connection. But when you are in love with yourself, you've decided, I want a relationship with me that is going to be something that's growing, that's a creation, right? As opposed to, we can all just be love. But being in love with ourselves is a decision. It's a commitment to yourself to create
Minute by minute,
to create a compelling, beautiful future.
And
I really like that, David.
Well, it's the truth. You need the tools. And I think I've learned from all these years on this planet, 56 and a half years on this planet. And, you know, when I listen to gurus who are 27, I'd be like, fuck, man, what you know is only what you fucking have believe that you've heard. You're only really creating at 27, your 27 years of life experience, which is nothing, and all the shit you've read. So it's like, you know, you might be good at what you do, but it's not internalized what you are yet, because you're not becoming what you are. And I think what happens as you get older, you realize that it is all about loving yourself. There's no magic fucking pill. There's no magic relationship. There's no magic. No one's going to complete you and make you happy. That's codependency. You know, the only thing that's ever going to complete you and make you happy in life is yourself. You know, until you love yourself every single day, every minute, you love your faults, you can get angry with yourself. I mean, there are times, it's funny, man, I'll walk around my house and I'll curse at myself. You had such a loser moment. What a loser you were in that fucking moment. What a fucking idiot. What a dummy you are, right? And I'll do it because I love myself. And it's okay. I'm not loving myself in that moment. I'm just fucking reprimanding myself. Just like I'm a kid, you know, so I'm being reprimanded by my higher self. My higher self is looking, going, you should be better than this right now, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I may not be kind to myself in the moment, but I go to the gym after that, and I forget about it, because I'm like, good, I reprimanded myself. I needed it. I was disciplining myself, because I think self-love is also disciplining yourself, too. Being able to, like, say to yourself, man, you just were a fucking loser the last 10 fucking minutes. Holy shit. Wow, what got into you? Fuck, let's figure it out.
That's really interesting, David, because I would, I mean, I hear you, and there's a part of me that just really disagrees with that strategy.
I know. That's why I brought it
up. Because, you know, the reprimand, I think we have to be really careful what we call ourselves, right? Because if you call yourself a loser, you're telling the universe you're a loser.
In that moment. In that moment.
So, but I think
that's where my sports mentality comes in.
I think
you know that.
Yeah. That's a challenge.
That's
where it's a big fucking challenge.
Well, my football mentality comes in that moment, Larry.
Right. Okay. So
big time.
Yeah, but let's take the John Wooden approach, right? And the John Wooden approach never used the term loser.
Okay.
You know, he was the all-time greatest basketball coach, 10 NCAA championships in a row, and he never, ever let his teammates say they lost anything.
But Bill Parcells used to fucking call out fucking people and call them girls when they didn't fucking do well. So
that's a different approach,
there's
right?
There's two approaches, right?
There's a different approach. So the key here is that, like, if you want to reprimand yourself, then my recommendation is tell yourself what you need to do better. Instead of call yourself a loser, say,
Oh, I do in the same sentence.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to lighten
I need
up.
to stop doing this if I keep doing
No,
this.
not the stop.
Oh, you don't like the stop?
No.
Really?
Because whenever
Really?
it's like a woman saying, "I don't want anybody that's going to cheat on me. I don't
Oh,
want to.
they
I
always
don't
get
want to date."
cheaters.
Then they always get cheaters. So whatever you say that you don't want, the universe is going to keep giving it to you, guaranteed. Especially for you as a protector, if you say what you don't want, you call yourself a loser. Guaranteed, the universe is going to say, "Oh, well, that's what you think. Here, let me show you what it keeps. I'm going to keep continuing to show you what it looks like."
Look how excited she is
Okay.
in the background. Huh?
So what you gotta, the point is you gotta ask for what you want. So if you're gonna reprimand yourself, say, "Oh my God, I gotta do this. I have to do this. I have to do these things. This is the way to do it." Not tell yourself what you're not supposed to do. Tell yourself what you're supposed to do. Okay? Don't call yourself a loser. Call yourself someone that, I gotta wake up to that one. I want to be aware of what I need to do. I wasn't aware, and awareness is what I need. Or whatever, I don't know what the right word is, but if you don't state it in the positive, you're guaranteed to get the negative. Absolutely, without question, it will happen again, guaranteed.
So you want me to channel, okay, John Wooden, not Bill Parcells.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, because I go on the Bill Parcells when he called Keyshawn Johnson a little girl, and he and there are coaches that, it's funny because the coaches that I emulate tend to be the ones that are very hard. Which is interesting, that they're very hard on their players,
And so their theory is that they're going to try and break someone until they get someone that's strong enough to go bullshit, and they go do it the other way.
But
look at how much effort and work and disintegration that they have to create to get success. You look at Wooden and his discipline of success, like if you haven't read any Wooden stuff, go do it.
I haven't in a long time.
Oh my. Beyond Success was written by Brian Byro, one of my closest friends, right? And it's the story of John Wooden's life. And if you haven't read that book, go get it. But it basically looks at his discipline of success, and it is about focusing on possibility and not focusing on the improbability or impossibility or the failures. Like it's like with my children growing up, if they didn't succeed at something, I didn't never let them think of themselves as a failure. I'd say you did the best you could at the time, right? You did the best you could with the resources you have at the time, which is, as human beings, we all do that. We always do the best we can with the resources we have at any given point in time. And sometimes our resources suck, right? Sometimes they suck. Sometimes the people we're working with, their resources suck, and we don't have the resources to help them. So we either make them wrong or ourselves wrong. That's a story. That's blame, shame, guilt, resentment, right? And that story is the trap. You have no love. Without love, you have no life force to help you succeed and really become the healthy body, both emotionally and physical, that you need to be. So anything that you're saying that's stated in the negative is a detriment. And the universe will keep giving you that shit over and over again until you figure it out.
It's funny, Larry, because I always have this conversation. And I think there's a New York way and a California way, West Coast, right? So where there's and I've lived on the West Coast now since 96, so 23 years of West Coast, right? So, but there's still a lot of East Coast, and East Coast is in your face, go fuck yourself, you're a loser, you had a loser moment, blah, 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 and then we go, 5 minutes later, we hug it out, it's all over, right? And we're fine, we learn from that, right?
It's like the guy in New Jersey who's fucking swearing all the time.
Right, we're harder on ourselves. It's interesting. There's a turmoil inside me.
Yeah.
There's the New Yorker that I don't mind. I don't feel, if I beat myself up and then I call myself a loser in that moment, I'm good, man. I'm like, and I do it. I tell myself, man, what am I not doing this? I should have fucking paid attention to this or this or this. I correct myself in it, and it's something.
Does it happen again? And if it's happening and repeating itself, that's the universe saying you're having the wrong conversation.
So wait, is the universe more California than New York?
No, because, David, I've worked with a lot of people on the East Coast now. And I know what you're talking about. And my family my dad's from the East Coast. My mom was from Winnipeg, right? So I grew up with that. I've got lots of family there. And there's a shift going on. It's like, how unhealthy do we want to be? Right? And I'm not saying that California is woo-woo and East Coast is not. people are more focused on consciousness and health than we ever have been in our lifetime. The planet is telling us, wake the fuck up, okay? Because we're destroying it. So the consciousness we have to find what's possible and what we're capable of doing, what can live and survive without incredible obstacles, and need to do that is much greater than it's ever been in the history of man. Right? Not in the history of the planet, because the planet will be fine. Planet could reset itself. It could wipe out this population. Planet will be fine. Another population will come back.
Oh, of course.
Right? But this population needs to wake the fuck up. And we're starting to do that. We're starting to do that. And it's happening everywhere on the globe, including the East Coast. Right?
All right. But there's a difference, and this is like, and I get it, I do get it, but it's definitely an internal struggle that there are times when I'm not as kind to myself as I could be.
Yeah, so my only invitation to you is be a little kinder.
That means I got to go to a fucking witch doctor, man.
No, go read your book again.
Get the rest of my, exercise, not exercise. I exercise enough, but I got to exercise. It's a very different. It's a struggle. It's an internal. New Yorkers are in your face. Californians are more.
Whatever. Watch your words. It's a struggle. Really? It's a struggle or it's a challenge?
It's a challenge. You're right.
Okay. So if it's a struggle, it's going to be a struggle. If it's a challenge, it's something you take on and you want to correct it. You want to break through it. So it's like I'm inviting you to watch your words, because if there's anything I've learned in my decades, is that I've had lots of conversations that perpetuated the same crap that I've struggled and not liked and didn't want to have happen, that I didn't like about myself, and all the visuals and all the emotional challenges that I've done over and over again, but each time a little bit uniquely, so they don't look exactly the same, right? My language is the core to it. How I communicate with myself and how I talk outwardly is going to determine what comes down the pike at me, and how easily or how quickly I move through it and emerge and evolve into the next rendition of whom I'm going to be. And I'm going to live tons of years because of that. I don't have any linear things going on. I just know that there's growth constantly happening. This body's constantly growing, so I might as well allow it to grow in a really healthy way so I can enjoy life fully. Do I lose that every once in a while? Yeah, I have my bad days.
We're humans.
Yeah. And I also look at the tension that shows up in my life, and I invite it knowing it's there because it's part of that two sides of the coin. If I was just all in love all the time, right, without embracing the tension that is a part of who I am as a human being, then it would be a joke. It would just be some la-la fairy tale. But if I can take the life force and I can take the tension and I can invite them both, I got something really great to work with. And I get to sit down and have a conversation with you like this, and we've had this incredible friendship for a long time.
Long fucking time,
Yeah. And we don't always agree with each other. We understand each other.
I know that.
But we definitely have times where we don't agree with each other.
Which is healthy.
Yeah, I mean, you've called me out on a lot of my shit. Right?
I know, you call me out on my shit, which is healthy. And, it's funny, and I think this is a good segue to end, and I always tell people all the time, a man-man relationship should be the same as a man-woman relationship. A good friend relationship should be the same as your partner relationship. You don't need to agree all the time. You should be calling each other out, because that's what a real relationship is. And too many people are like, you call me out. I call my friends out all the time, too. I've called you out tons of times. You've called me out tons of times. It doesn't tarnish the friendship. It actually makes it better. And I think in a lot of relationships, people don't like the controversy of calling each other out in a romance relationship, because it defines the fantasy of the Disney version of the romance that too many people are living, when in reality, to me, call me out as much as you want.
Yeah, we need to be courageous.
Yeah.
We need to be courageous. When we don't call each other out, we're chicken shits. We just are avoiding things. We're avoiding the challenge that's right in front of us. We need to be courageous, and we need to be really frickin' excited about that courageousness. Courageous intimacy is my favorite term, right? And if we could be intimate, vulnerable, just allowing ourselves to be totally seen, as integrous as possible, and know we're going to make frickin' mistakes, and be courageous when we're most fearful, be courageous. That's the coolest breakthroughs happen. The most beautiful love stories happen out of that.
Yeah,
right?
it's the best. Courageous is the best way to live.
Yeah.
If you are courageous, and that's this is the end. This is a long podcast, a great podcast as always. And I think the way we look at it, if you set one intent for the year, that's going to be my intent for the year.
I like it.
Courageous. I just think there's always one word I like to have for the year, and it's good. We picked it up the beginning of January. Sometimes you pick up the word in December, and you're like, that's cool, no big deal. Then I got 13 months of being courageous, right?
Right.
So, because every day is a chance to start a new year. I mean, every day is a chance to start a new you. So I like courageous. So join me this year on what courageous things are you going to be doing. Maybe I'll even rename the podcast The Courageous You. That'd be kind of cool.
That's kind of fun.
Courageous You. But no, it's like courageous. Tomorrow morning I'm going to wake up, I'm going to do something courageous. Courageous means walking through all fears, getting through stories, and just doing something that you are not comfortable doing, being courageous. There's the dictionary definition. Or you can...
And celebrate it.
And celebrate it.
That's the thing. So, courage doesn't have to be a huge obstacle. It just has to be moving through whatever obstacle or fear you have. And then when you do it, freaking celebrate.
Do you remember the original Courageous? Yeah, she. Remember that? Remember? Who was that?
That's before a lot of people were born.
Tell them who it is, right? Yeah, she. Do you remember? In the little car, Courageous Cat and Minute Mouse.
Yeah.
Fuck, I love
Remember Courageous George?
Yeah. No,
it's a different Courageous. But
Courageous Cat and Minute Mouse were my favorite. Yeah, she. All right, so Larry, where can they reach you?
Oh, Larry M at the 4 Answers. But what I want people to do is go to the4answers.com, and it's spelled out. So
we created a long time ago.
FOUR Answers, ANSWERS, the4answers.com. And while you're there, this is free. This is a really cool thing. Go to the products page, find the personal energetic profile, and run it. Run it. You heard me and David talk about his protector and super active. That's just scratching the surface. There's some really cool things about what you are energetically. And it is, for me in my lifetime, all the years that I've done therapy and coaching work, which is like 4 decades of it, this is the most powerful tool to bust your stories that I've ever worked with in my lifetime. And it's my life's work now.
Around my daughters, and she is the exact carbon copy of me.
Yeah, no surprise there.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's
and what a great thing to know about her, because as she grows up, you can assist her when she gets stuck.
Super active. I mean, I look at her, I'm like, what do I want? And it's funny because that's why I always, when she wants to do things, we go 100 miles an hour. But then when
everybody else is watching, going, "Whoa!"
Oh yeah, we do so much. And she always says, "Daddy, we do so much together. We do so." But then, there are times I look at her, I go, "What do you want to do?" She goes, "I want to go home." Mm-hmm. And when she wants to go home, I'll sit here with her all day long because I know she needs to recharge. I know what it feels like to need to sit around and recharge. So it's interesting. When I read that, I was like, "Oh my God, I got a mini version of me. That's so fucking cool." It's like, all right, so we can go 100 miles an hour together, and then when she crashes, we can go 1 mile an hour together. Mm-hmm. And I can highly respect that. Anyway, this was, as I said, the other day in the podcast is going to be 3 days a week now, not 5 days a week. The reason being is that I'm going to have scintillating guests, longer topics. You asked for longer topics. There will be some days...
Well, they got it today.
Yeah. There'll be some days that are 10 minutes. There'll be some days that are an hour and a half. If it's an hour and a half, there's a reason why, and it's worth every fucking minute of it being an hour and a half. The one thing I always ask and will always ask is please rank me on iTunes. Spread the podcast to people who need it. This is free. I mean, I get paid a lot per hour, and so does Larry, and we basically give our time away for free. So all I ask back is if you share this podcast with other people who can use this information, because it brings me a lot of joy to be able to give you and also get raw with you, because I was able to get raw and go through my stuff, because I'm only a human being, and I make mistakes and have flaws as well, which is a good thing for all of you to see. I'll see you on Friday's show.